Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. I hope you've had a wonderful holiday so far. I want to talk about some things with you today, and I hope you'll get value out of the video. So the first one is the title of the video, which is The Calm Before the Storm. And the reason why I titled the video that is that, to me, from my limited appraisal of reality, it seems like there's a lot of things swirling around right now that especially the Obama administration is responsible for that are concerning to me. Primarily, the manner in which the Obama administration seems to be not only escalating, but furiously, almost rapidly ramping up every possible destructive position and rhetoric that they possibly can. You could ask yourself why this would be the case. What reasonable person, I think reasonable is the crux of the question, what reasonable person would seek to basically burn it down, as it were, to burn down the relative state of tranquility that we have, relative being a key point as well. The way that the administration right now is escalating stuff needlessly, I might add, with Russia is troubling. The multiple things that happened this past week, well, I was number one sick with the norovirus. But while most people were focused on spending time with their families for Christmas and Hanukkah and the holiday, whatever holiday you want to celebrate, the UN, of course, did, there was a resolution that, of course, we abstained on. Why we're in the UN, I don't know. It doesn't do anything for us, and we pretty much subsidize their very existence. But the UN resolution this week, our position on it pretty much did an about-face as far as our stance on Israel and the way that we view our role in the Middle East, and definitely a reversal in policy from a presidential standpoint has caused a lot of trouble. And then, of course, the asshat John Kerry got up there, you know, the guy who pretty much ketchup banged his way to his fortune and power. Got up there and, of course, made a complete buffoon out of himself in front of the world stage and really threw sand in the eye of the Israelis after we've insulted them, of course. It's just not a good thing, not a good thing at all. So let's, like, the relative tranquility that we've had with Russia, of course. Obama administration decides that they want to ratchet up rhetoric, they want to increase, sanctions, they want to throw out diplomats. Why? Why now? That's part one. And then two, why do you want to go pissing off people who support us? Why do you want to go making things worse for us from a stability standpoint? And I think that really is the crux of it. We had, up until this point, post-election, been trying to find some sort of footing. It's like trying to get your new balance. If you've ever been in a boat before, you have to kind of get your balance a little bit. Especially the further you get out to sea, you got to get your sea legs about you. And I feel like the way that the administration has handled the interim post-election, this nice little sweet spot we have before January 20th, has been one of seeking to dismantle, destroy, and destabilize things that we have, foreign policy stances that we've had for a while. And that's troubling to me. It's troubling for a lot of different reasons. The Russian thing is ridiculous. Why in the world we are poking a bear? Like, who wants to poke a bear? The metaphor is apt. Why we're doing that, I don't know. It is troubling to me. Why we have taken the positions that we've had from an administration standpoint is beyond me. But I do know for sure one thing, and that is that we are looking at a storm if the current administration keeps this up. They're trying to tear down everything they can to make it as difficult to make not only the country as difficult to govern as possible in the post-inauguration days, but also they're making it difficult to represent the country with all these sudden, pokes and about faces. And it's not a good thing, folks. It's not a good thing at all. So that's my concern with what I'm seeing. I'm sure a lot of you are seeing very similar things. But good time to be prepared. Good time to be prepared. I think folks forget that in the midst of all of this, we still do not have sound monetary policy. The Donald getting in is not going to fix the Federal Reserve. That is a significant mark against us as far as our ability to maintain solvency. We're a very heavily leveraged nation. We're in very, very deep debt. And because of the stagnancy in job creation, we have less and less way to pay that debt back. You know, the taxpayer, you and I, are shouldering the burden of that debt. We have mortgaged the futures of not only ourselves, but our children and our grandchildren, even our great-grandchildren, to debt that is so seemingly insurmountable. I don't know how we're going to get out of it. That's part one, right? So the monetary situation is still precarious, okay? Part two, the electorate is still divided, okay? We still have these issues that are unresolved, major fundamental issues as to what the country deems right, appropriate, necessary parameters for government. What is the proper role of government? You have a very deeply divided nation. One half, maybe not even half, let's say a third, right? One half to a third of the country says that government is not only good, but we need to double down on it and we need more. It's not enough for us to leave people alone, because people, of course, are too impotent and ineffective to be able to run their own lives. We must tell them what to do. We have to treat people like a nursery teacher would treat school children. And that's the view of the progressives, that we have to, progressives, what a misnomer, we have to constrain people and to strip as much liberty from them as possible in order to prop up the common good. So you have that as part of the equation, and that's not going to stop. These people are rabid in their ignorance, part off, but they're also infected with the disease of liberalism. It is a disease. It's a corrosive, necrotic, it eats away at anything healthy. That's what liberalism does. So that is not going to get resolved, okay? Just because these people got their tushies beat, I'm going to try and keep this G-rated. I already let one wordy slide. I'm trying, folks. I really am. It's not enough for these people to get their tushies beat in an election, okay? Like, they are fearless. They have operated for the past 8, possibly 15, but definitely 8 years with complete assurances that their little agitating methodology is going to be not only supported but protected from the federal government, from the executive branch of the federal government for sure, edging towards the judicial. So you've got that contingency in the country is not going to go away despite having been trounced effectively. They're not going to go away because they haven't felt the pain enough of it. That's really what it comes down to. They haven't been opposed in the way that silences them. And that's not going to go away. Again, we have fought, I think people forget, we've had civil wars in this country. Civil war is a misnomer, but we've had domestic turmoil in this country, honestly, from about the time of its inception, okay? We may have Hamilton relegated, Alexander Hamilton, the absolute dirtbag of the founding fathers. We may have had him relegated to a $10 bill, okay, but we're definitely living in his world. That man was intent upon stripping states' rights and upon making people slaves to a federal government and to a central bank. And this is going to have to be reckoned with eventually. And the election of the Donald is not going to erase these things. I have this picture in my head of a teacher on a dry erase board. I'm that old school. I remember chalkboards and dry erase boards. I have this picture of a teacher writing down truths, like geometric principles, if then, A is parallel to B, given. And then suddenly somebody coming and then wiping it all away. All of these givens that we've seen, with our monetary policy being jacked up, with the division really between the anti-federalists and the federalists. It doesn't matter what generation that it is. The local government and limited government versus broad, far-reaching, heavy-handed federal government, that contest is still being waged right now, okay? And so nobody's come along here and wiped away with the grand eraser of history. Nobody has come along here and wiped away these truths. So that's just kind of what I'm thinking right now, guys. I hope you'll forgive me. I have been hit over the head with a 2x4 known as the norovirus, and I'm still getting over it. It was rough. That's probably why, if you noticed, I hadn't put anything up for a couple weeks. It's been very, very rough. Let me tell you, you know that you're sick when you're going over your own PowerPoint slides as you're retching your guts out over the toilet. Not fun. I know, little TMI, that's all right. I know you guys care. But that's what I'm seeing, folks. That's what I'm seeing. And I think it pays dividends now more than ever, definitely, to be prepared and to be focused on taking care of your needs at home. Because, and it's funny, I was on the Hagman report a few, I guess it was a week and a half ago. It was right before, it was the day before I got sick with the norovirus. And on the radio show, by the way, I'll put a link to the YouTube video of the Hagman report that I was in, so you can listen to it if you want. On the Hagman report, I was noticing, and I think I talked about this there, that it seems that so many people have completely forgotten about being prepared. prepping, whatever. Like, I'll call it that because that's what it's commonly referred to as. But it seems like a lot of people have just completely disengaged from the need to be diligent about covering their basic necessities of living. And in a way, I guess it's natural because people are so freaking exhausted from having endured the past 8 years that they need a little mental break. It's like there's only so much that a person can take before he has to pause and reset. But what is concerning to me is that so many people think that one man in a position of power is going to fix these issues, and it's just not the case. Like, to make an example, let's say for instance that you're really, really sick. Okay, let's say that you have a really, really nasty cancer, and you haven't taken care of yourself for a long time. Let's say that you've done all of the health sins, you know, heavy drinking, smoking, high risk taking behaviors, terrible diet, terrible lifestyle, all that stuff. You know, just because you go and you get a great cancer specialist as a doctor, that doesn't mean that it's going to undo all these fundamental problems. You may have gotten yourself a different perspective. There's a new guy in charge, you know, whatever. But the patient is still sick. And that's really how I see this thing. You know, for the medical analogies, I am what I am. I'm a nurse, so I see it that way. But folks, that's really what I'm seeing right now. The calm before the storm, I think people are a little deceived by that. I think that we want to believe things, and therefore we kind of let stuff go. But don't be emotional about this, man. Like, be diligent. Be diligent. That's all I really can say. Just a little chat with you guys today. I hope it was helpful for you guys. It's a weird time of year right now. Like, everybody's off. They got, you know, Christmas and New Year's, and everybody's coming and going, but I did want to put a video out there for you guys. I finally feel good enough to do it, so hope it was helpful for you guys. If you did enjoy the video, please subscribe to me, Patriot Nurse, and also like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. You can also come train with me too. My schedule for 2017 is up for the medical prep classes. I'm unveiling 301 in March, actually, in Knoxville, Tennessee. Going a lot of places this year: Spokane, Washington, Richmond. There's a whole bunch there on the website, so check it out if you'd like to come train with me. I hope it was helpful for you all. I hope you have a wonderful new year. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off. I'll see you guys later. Bye.